foreign affairs reporter from the Washington Correspondent. Tom, we wanted to start out because we're going to talk about the transition next. A conservative British politician appeared on British TV yesterday to talk about what that transition would look like. And it produced what I think is an activism Hall of Fame moment as people nearby played this music behind him. Let's roll this clip.
A couple of things. Firstly, we need to make sure that we keep the basic functions of government going. That's really important. There are, for example, no ministers in DfE at the moment. That needs to be sorted out. Secondly, I think we need to try and select a new leader as quickly as we reasonably can. And obviously, we need to make sure we make the correct choice, but we should do it in a reasonably quick time. In terms of Boris staying on, the convention is that the outgoing Prime Minister does carry on. That's what happened when Theresa May left office, is what happened when David Cameron left office. And, given that...
Ryan cannot get enough of that.
It's so good. It's so good. And if anybody was able to follow what he was trying to say, he's talking about the transition to the next Prime Minister. So which clown will come out of the clown car next? So what is going to happen next? And also, what happened? Boris Johnson didn't change. Why all of a sudden is he so deeply unpopular?
So I think what happened is essentially the Conservative Parliamentary Party, right? The members of Parliament in Boris Johnson's party lost confidence in him. The backdrop to this had been repeated parties that had been held at Downing Street, equivalent essentially of the White House during the COVID lockdowns, with a lot of alcohol and partying. Boris Johnson denied there were parties. Then photos came out showing he'd been at repeated ones. That sort of played to a loss of trust and to this idea in British society of the class system, right? That the people like Boris Johnson, who went to private boarding schools, Eton, where he went, and Oxford, there's a different system of rules for those people than everyone else. Boris Johnson survived that. The most recent scandal, though, came when a minister that Boris Johnson had appointed to the role of deputy chief whip in the Parliament, that it turned out that Johnson had been aware that when that minister was formerly at the Foreign Office, he'd been accused of misconduct. And Boris Johnson essentially then denied that he had been briefed on that, and it came out that he had. So it was one thing after the other of a loss of confidence, plummeting poll ratings. And I think this broader change in opinion that Boris Johnson, from being the kind of charismatic, foppish, eccentric guy who could at least get Brexit done, became a liability and a clown, essentially. And so what's happening now? And I think that plays to all this imagery and the Benny Hill music and, the media coverage and British people kind of finding it all quite funny that Boris Johnson refused to leave and, just became a sort of surreal Monty Python sketch. So what's going to happen now? There will be a leadership contest. There will be a new leader of the Conservative Party because of the British parliamentary system. That leader will immediately become prime minister de facto without the need for an election. That doesn't need to happen until January 2025. And the question becomes, who will be the leader? I think, interestingly, for Americans, the top three candidates to take over that, two of them, Ben Wallace, the defense secretary, and Liz Truss, the foreign secretary, are pretty ardently pro-American. Liz Truss has a very good relationship with Secretary of State Blinken. So frankly, there should be, and both of them actually are, especially Ben Wallace, who I think is the favorite, are seen as pretty sort of stable hands. Ben Wallace is kind of seen, he's an ex-army officer, slightly boring, the antithesis in many ways of Boris Johnson. But I think that probably helps him a lot within the party and certainly among the public. So, I think in a sense, it's a positive that a line has been drawn under this now. Although Boris Johnson seems determined to stay on until September when a new leader takes over. And the question is, can he do that?